Hello everybody, this is Jenny McGarvey and I have a page to share with you today that I created with the Crate Paper Boys Rule collection. I've actually already made a few different pages with this collection, but I love it, so I couldn't wait to make another one. As you can see, I've pulled pretty much all of the stuff I have from that collection out and it's sitting right there. And I'm going to get to work. I have the wood veneer, the chipboard, that kind of stuff. Now I'm going ahead and selecting some of my favorite papers from the collection. And I realized that I have a bunch of scraps, so I'm going to use those for this page. Now, what works out great is that they fit the theme of my page, which is baseball, and they're some of my very favorites. So that works out fantastically. Now I've chosen that circle background paper. Again, I've used it several times already as a background, but I just adore it. I just love it. And the circular motion of it helps lend itself to baseball, which is also perfect with that red with the off-white polka dots as well. Now I have a centered page design in my head already, so I've sort of just started trimming up some papers, that strip of the polka dot, and then that dots in a 6x6 square. Now I'm going to add just the tiniest bit of that star vellum, which I love and can't get enough of, to the back, just to add a little bit of interest without being too much, without being too crazy, which is what's so cool about vellum, is that it really adds something, but it really doesn't compete too much either. Now I'm going to start thinking about my embellishments using the chipboard pieces, which are really cool because they're adhesive, and then also using the wood veneer, which are cool because they're printed, which we haven't had too much of. I'm sure more companies will start coming out with that in the future. So just adding some of those chipboard pieces to this page that pertain. A lot of the Boys Rule collection is robots and star or video games and stuff like that, which is really cool and totally boyish, but doesn't fit with the baseball layout. So finding a few that go with it that aren't that way is a challenge. Now I'm going to use those alphas, the clear acetate alphas, to spell out ball. And then I'll go ahead and I'll adhere the top portion of the alpha with my ATG tape runner. What's super cool about that is that it doesn't really show up too much. I guess if you're a perfectionist, it might bug you that you can see it a little bit. Now I'm showing you how I store all of those things that come in those clamshell packaging. I cut a strip on the top and then a little bit on the side so then I can still use the original packaging, which is nice to remember what specific element that I used for something as opposed to throwing it away if I want to remember the manufacturer or whatever. So a little cutting the top and then a little bit on the side helps keep all of those things in there without falling all over or having to put it in a different package. As you can see, I'm adhering those with on the top because then I'm going to choose a different alpha in October afternoon. I think it's from the Daily Flash collection to go ahead and sort of layer my title, not directly on top of the ball, but sort of overlapping ever so slightly and choosing a different alpha to give it contrast and really sort of draw your eye to that. I'm also going to use these October afternoon label stickers. I'm going to use those just to do a little bit of sort of layering, sort of not embellishing on my page. The nice thing about the label stickers is that they don't really compete. Like there's nothing that they don't have anything printed on them, so your eye isn't necessarily drawn to them, but it gives the page a more full feel. So I like that a lot. Now, as you can see, I have a baseball flare that I'm going to go ahead and put down on the page. I wouldn't necessarily consider myself to be too themed of a scrapper, but it's a 6-year-old boy baseball page. Using a baseball flare is pretty awesome, and it pretty much goes. So, as you can see, I have my glue dots right there too. Those are my favorites that come in that little dispenser. There's no paper to tear off or anything like that. They're so easy to use. I love them, and I wouldn't buy any different glue dots at this point. Now, as you can see, the page is really sort of coming together. It's nearing completed. It's not completely done, but it's much better. There's those Daily Flash alphabet stickers that I told you about that I'm going to layer with the ball to spell out play ball. And they're perfect because I love the black and white. It really gives it a little extra contrast, which is great. I love to add just a little bit, enough for a page. And it goes perfectly with those black and white label stickers. Now just the tiniest bit of mist, a little splattering, that's the Dewy from Studio Calico, and then a few of the wood veneer stars. Those were the new ones that came out this spring. I don't recall which collection specifically they came with, if it was essentials or something like that, but I'm adding a few of those to go with the mist to give a little bit of a random feel since the rest of the page is pretty tight and really linear. These give a little bit more of a whimsical feel. Now we're done there, so now it's time to add just a little bit of journaling. I'm going to use my pencil today instead of using the pen for my journaling lines. I don't want the contrast today from the lines since I have that background paper. So now I'll just end my handwritten journaling. I don't adhere too quickly to the lines. If I go over a little bit or whatever, I'm cool with that. It's not that big of a deal to me. So I'll just go ahead and do that. And then I'll use my eraser to erase those lines. That will then make the journaling totally complete. And I'll add a little bit of the date and also then my son's jersey number on some of the label stickers that I used already. So again, cool. The label stickers add dimension, but then they also are practical as well. Thanks for stopping by and checking out my page. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.